Twice was nice, but three's a party. Welcome, finally, to the third part of this stupid series I'm doing, where I will be ranking every single episode in Total Drama's history. And who would have guessed? We've reached the third season. Total Drama the Musical. No, not the musical. Total Drama World Tour. One of the most iconic seasons of Total Drama to date. The third season of the show brought the show to new heights, literally. Having the contestants live in an airplane while they fly to different places all around the world competing in challenges, while throwing some musical numbers every episode because High School Musical was the shit back in 2009 or whatever. So you know they had to cash in. I'll do a pit stop and talk about the musical numbers right now because I plan on making an entire video that should come out a couple days to a week or so after this one, ranking each song, where I'll give my full opinion on each song in that video, saving this video to be able to talk about everything but. And the songs don't really change my rankings of the actual episodes anyway, at least not dramatically. That does not mean I didn't like the songs, do not get the wrong message. It's quite the opposite. I adore these songs, having the words memorized to pretty much every song on the list because of how many times I've watched the season. They are engraved into my mind, and this video would be much longer than it already is if I went on a side quest with all the songs in each episode. So I'm splitting my differences. 2 videos, I'm happy, hopefully you're happy. Back to praising this season of the show. The third season felt so grand. Total Drama Island was where it all began. Action was solid, but didn't expand or feel very different aside from the setting. But World Tour was different on all aspects. Whether it was the musical numbers, seeing cast members I haven't seen in a whole season, or seeing entirely new characters altogether. I feel like World Tour had so much of the charm that Island had with some new sprinkles we could add on top of this Total Drama cake. Does that mean that World Tour was a high-flying success compared to the trilogy? Or am I giving it a little too much credit compared to its previous counterparts? There's only one way to find out in my review and my ranking of every episode of
Total Drama World Tour.
Way to steal my thunder, Chris. Asshole. Haha, I gotcha. I can't exactly move on to the true ranking of every episode without talking about this little nugget right here. The special 27th episode of Total Drama Action, Celebrity Manhunt. The reason I'm talking about it in this video is because it directly correlates to the start of Total Drama World Tour. Because there wasn't a 2-day break in between Action and World Tour. This episode serves as a way to catch up on the cast, see how each of them are doing, how much more torture they can take from Chris, all while posing as a TMZ or big station network channel thing covering these reality TV stars. I'll give you the highlights. Blanley and Josh, don't worry, I got no idea who they are either, are your hosts of this Celebrity Manhunt special. To catch up on the cast, the relevant parts are Lindsay and Beth are felons. I think Mama killed somebody. Gwen and Heather have online beef, which is the best part of the episode. Duncan and Courtney broke up, and the Drama Brothers also broke up. Okay, honestly, this episode is kind of whatever. Chris is hosting a new show with a whole new cast called Total Drama Dirtbags. The OG cast get caught up in Chris's scheme to chase down the Dirtbags and regain their fame. Duncan and Courtney get back together. Alejandro, one of the Dirtbags, and Sierra, this crazy stalker lady that's been there all episode, both join the cast, and everybody lives happily ever after. Until we set off to season 3. And like I said, the episode is fine. I just don't fully care enough about it to devote a ton of time into it. We have 26 episodes to rank here. We gotta get a move on. Now I can officially welcome you to Total Drama. Again, Chris, you gotta let me have one of these. I'm gonna get one of these. You can't stop me forever.
Season 3 of Total Drama, folks.
We are here for season 3 of Total Drama, folks. You know the drill by now. Time to introduce our lovely cast. Courtney, Duncan, Heather, Gwen, Lashana, Lindsay, Owen, DJ, Harold, Noah, Cody, Ezekiel, Izzy, Tyler, Bridget, Alejandro,
Wowie. I like girls.
and Sierra. The cast is cute, and I'm excited for this season around the world in an absolute shithole that we have to call a plane. Chris explains the rules of the game as he does every season. The only true difference is a small change I actually really enjoy. The winners of the challenge each episode will fly first class, a cute and luxurious place to relax and celebrate, while the losers will fly in not ideal conditions. Can we take a second to talk about Chris's vendetta against Ezekiel? Literally threw this man out of the plane before the game even started. Like, we kind of love our feminist King Chris. The only other quick notes I'm going to make before we actually dive into the main part of the episode is Alejandro is clearly very charming and very seductive. Sierra is obsessed with Cody of all people, and
all contestants must sing in each show.
these people need to stop stealing my lines. I'm going to throw some hands. But now we can get into the challenge. The cast lands in its first destination, Egypt. Here to play a game of pyramid over under to determine the teams for the season. And this was not my favorite challenge. Nothing bad that I took away from it, but at the same time, no outstanding moments. I'll give you all the Cliff Notes version of the challenge. Tyler gets abused this episode a lot.
Lindsay, I'm a goat, but...
Owen nearly made out with Ezekiel, and DJ breaks this mummy dog thing, so I'm sure that's not going to have any lasting impact that curses him forever or anything. We'll move on because the big twist of this season is 3 teams.
¿Qué idiotas? Incompetentes.
We cannot end off this episode without our big moment, and that big moment arrives when Courtney, Gwen, and Duncan are working together to get over this pyramid, and because they haven't finished yet, they need to sing a musical reprise. But Donkey Poo is not down with singing or dealing with Courtney and Gwen, and quits the game on the spot. Now I get to call him Duncan McQuitty Pants. Okay, but on a serious note, this was a very unexpected moment for the time being. Duncan is a fan favorite and clearly loved by the writers, so I think this was their way to limit the Duncan screen time, and I'm not mad at it. Duncan just won last season and was 4th place season 1. We don't need an overload on Duncan. That's how you ruin characters. And episode 1 quit? A little questionable, but I'm not here to judge, just here to appreciate the drama. The final note I'll leave this premiere on is the teams officially being formed. Ezekiel, Lindsay, Harold, Lashana, DJ, and Bridget form Team Victory. Izzy, Heather, Gwen, Courtney, and Cody form Team Amazon, and Alejandro, Tyler, Noah, Owen, and Sierra form
Team number 1
Guys, I think we need a
and number
food
2.
Got it! Team Chris is really hot.
Can I just say I appreciate so much how Tyler's team name idea was team number 1 and number 2. That's so funny to me for no reason. And that concludes the first part of the 2-part premiere episodes. Sorry that this premiere recap was pretty long. There was a lot to break down, and I feel it helps for the rest of the review if I can give you guys the initial rundown of everything that's going on and going to go on for this season. But this is also a ranking, so how did this premiere fare? I really enjoy it. Maybe I'm blinded by seeing this cast back at square one again, ready to battle it out all season, but I don't know what to tell you. It's a lot of fun from start to finish. Now, Total Drama World Tour is a very strong season in my opinion. Don't look at me crazy when I talk highly about a lot of episodes. I have to rank them all somewhere. This is a very strong start to the season for me. Picking up right where we left off, episode 2, Walk Like an Egyptian, part 2. We've gotten all of our introductions out of the way, we can dive into the fun parts. Each team at the end of last episode was given an item that will help the cast cross the desert and race to the Nile. Team Amazon got a camel, Team Chris is really hot, gets a goat, and Team Victory gets a stick. The rest of the episode is just filled with fun little bits. Nothing outstanding, but little moments that made me laugh or just a breath of fresh air. This is why I love the show so much. The biggest thing that happens for the rest of the episode comes in the final part of the challenge. Each team needs to basket weave a boat to cross the Nile with their reward that they won earlier on. Some really nice sucking up leads to Sierra, a 4th generation basket weaver, switching teams with Izzy, who speaks camel. Because she's Izzy, I don't know what to tell you. Everyone's happy, I think, probably. I don't really care that much. And luckily for the cast, despite Team Amazon finishing in first and Team Victory finishing last, as long as each team brought their reward item across the finish line, Nobody's going home. Yeah, flashback to like 15 seconds ago when Ezekiel bonked a crocodile on the nose and lost the team's stick, sending Team Victory to elimination. And of course Ezekiel is booted. Like, duh. But he hung on to the wing of the plane somehow. He's gone, but he's still there. Whatever, I don't care. Duncan is booted too, and Alejandro admits in confessional that Heather is a saint compared to him. And we might just have an all-time villain on our hands, people. But you gotta stay tuned to find out. This episode was really solid. I do think I enjoyed part 1 of this 2-part thing more, but this is no slouch. I think World Tour is off to a really fun start. Finally, I feel like we can get into the swing of things. I just wanted to give a solid enough breakdown of everything we get introduced to in that 2-part premiere. And I also really love the season at the same time. We can move to episode 3, Super Happy Crazy Fun Time Japan, where Chris literally launches them out of the plane. What they land in, you guessed it, Japan, which I'm honestly disappointed in the making of this episode, fully because I love Japan. And what did they give us? Pinball and making a candy commercial? There's so much more to do with this episode when you're in literally Japan. It's just, wasted potential. The rest of the episode, if you couldn't tell by what I just said, is fine. Nothing too exciting. I think DJ is actually cursed. Sierra pulls some shit out of her ass and wins the candy commercial for Team Amazon, and Team Victory lost the challenge, sending them to elimination. The main plot of this episode surrounds Alejandro, charming villain of the episode and of the season, who sets his sights on Harold, manipulating Harold into this whole honor trope and trying to swoon Lashana. And even though DJ got a majority of the votes and was ready to be sent home, Harold sacrifices himself for, I have no idea. But we got robbed of so much more Harold this season, and I'm very sad. I don't know, this episode just feels so much less in all aspects compared to most episodes. It's gonna land pretty close to the bottom here because of the lack of substance it gave. The cast has moved to the Yukon for episode 4, and this episode was a lot of fun for me. Noah and Owen are unironically a really fun duo together, and I enjoyed Heather a lot this episode too.
Help me out here? What can I do, Courtney? I didn't make the alphabet. Hey, you can't just...
There's a major plot in this episode, so I'm unfortunately gonna talk about it. Alejandro took down Harold, so now he sets his sights onto Bridget, and it instantly works. Like, instantly. It's really bad seeing Bridget literally cheat on Jeff, like, right in front of everybody watching. Sure, maybe Alejandro is that good, but despite all of his antics later on in the show, nobody else cheats on their partner. Oh my god, that does happen. Okay, alright. Maybe a couple people cheat on their partner, but that's a different story for a different day. But in this instance, look at Bridget just like actively kissing him on accident and then trying to kiss him on purpose. So, like, yeah, she deserved to get stuck to a pole. And of course you get voted out because you cost your team the challenge. And Jeff deserves better. Despite all the shit I'm talking, this episode still had a lot of great and funny moments on characters not named Bridget. So I still enjoyed it. The best of the first 4 at least, in my opinion. New York, here we come. And everything was fine. This was the honest and true start of the Alejandro and Heather storyline. And both are fighting for Sierra's loyalty. Or should I say, Heather is fighting for Sierra's loyalty, while Alejandro is taking a different angle. A big part of Sierra's quote-unquote worth to these two is that she's obsessed with Chris. And Chris loves that attention because he's a massive narcissist. So if Alejandro gets Chris to dislike Sierra, her worth as an alliance member goes down drastically, which Alejandro does constantly this episode, getting the upper hand on Heather for at least this first battle between the two. And the rest of the episode? Yeah, it's there. The challenge was a little boring if I'm being real, but there's still some funny moments. Mainly Izzy. I swear, she's a star whenever she's on screen.
Noah regressed into a baby!
And yeah, the episode is definitely not bad by any means, but fairly boring, and Team Victory finally doesn't lose, and of course it's a reward challenge. That's some crazy levels of hating. Team Victory deserves better. They deserve an actual win. And of course we go to New York, and this is what we got. I don't know, it's fine. Yay, it's the beloved Aftermath show. I'm messing with you. Boring. Maybe we'll live in a world where I don't instantly put the Aftermath shows at the bottom of the list, but we don't live in that world yet, at least as of episode 6 of Total Drama World Tour. This is the big apology episode. Bridget needs to somehow not force Jeff to hate her forever for literally cheating on him. And despite being more fun than most of the aftermaths from last season, I just don't care. So I'll take this time to talk about Eva, who is incredibly underrated and was fun this episode. The only part I truly enjoyed. This is going to be at the bottom just because of my preferences. But Eva, you're a star. You should have been on this season.
On Total Drama World Tour! Forget this!
Yay, we're back to actual total drama, and a pretty good episode at that. Slap Slap Revolution sends the cast to Germany, and poor Tyler. He's so irrelevant, his own girlfriend doesn't even know who he is. The cast is here to make some nasty, nasty sausages. And despite all that, I do think the challenge was really fun.
All without losing a finger or toe.
What about thumbs? Are they cool?
Cody's got a tiny sausage.
At least my team has a sausage.
After part 1, we moved to the Dance Dance Revolution, baby! And this was my favorite part of the challenge. They took such a simple concept of just dancing and turned it into an all-out brawl. Slap dancing, if you will. The last one standing on their podium will win invincibility for their team. Sierra absolutely thrives here, in the most Sierra way possible. Alejandro keeps his manipulation, seduction tactics going on Lashana this time. This happened. Hey, I had to witness it, so you have to too. I'm sorry. It's a two-way street. You watch the video. You know, it's fine. And the absolute peak of this episode, and one of the best scenes in the entire season, is Lashana does what we've all wanted to do for 3 seasons. Takes down Heather and slaps a tooth out. Iconic. So iconic. Oh my god. However though, due to Lashana's heroic act, Team Victory loses due to a member of Team Amazon, and Team Chris is really hot, still being up on the platform. And Team Amazon wins, aka Sierra wins, because Alejandro threw the comp, because he's Alejandro. And they couldn't see my queen thrive for long because Lashana the Fabulous is ultimately voted out. The 3rd straight episode where we get a victim of Alejandro's powers. Yes, the episode is really good. There are so many fun moments that I was entertained by the whole way. And of course, when you have a moment as iconic as the Lashana versus Heather moment, that will always boost this episode. It's top half for sure.
Tell me those aren't the same sausages you threw up.
Episode 8, the Amazon race. And I think this is another really good episode. The cast is headed to the Amazon. Oh boy. I hope nobody on Team Amazon mentioned how that might be good luck for them or anything.
Team Amazon in the Amazon? That's gotta be a lucky sign.
Oh god damn it, Gwen, look what you done. You've completely jinxed our team this episode. The goal of the Amazon challenge, however, is simple. Maneuver through the Amazon to Machu Picchu. Overnight, I guess. I don't know. And this truly was a tale of 3 different teams. The least notable team, surprisingly, was Team Victory, who actually didn't suck. It's a miracle. Aside from classic DJ harming innocent baby animals, you know, the huge, they pretty much coasted all the way through to a victory. Can you believe it? Team Chris is really hot is the comedic relief of the episode. Not really meant to be taken seriously. Not too many serious hiccups. Just kind of there to entertain you. And entertained I was.
All we're missing is chips, beef, tomatoes, cheese, salsa.
Hey, slow down, guys. I'm making a list.
We're in first place! Hi, Tyler!
Okay.
And then of course the stars of the episode are Team Amazon, who get jinxed by Gwen. At the same time though, they're kinda dumb. Gwen single-handedly chooses the wrong path and Team Amazon follows her. And they get captured by the Zing Zings, a native group that are very dangerous, so you know. That's not ideal. Don't worry, it gets so much better because Gwen EpiPenned herself. In all seriousness though, I've EpiPenned myself and I really thought I was gonna die, so I'm only gonna make fun of her a little bit here. By the way, randomly the Zing Zings think Heather is a god and they put a tooth in her mouth hole. And then turns out womp womp, the zing zings are fake, so what? The only reason I'm gonna mention that is because it explains why Heather has a gold tooth in her mouth from now on. Obviously, Team Amazon loses, and the girlies are plotting to blindside and take out Heather. Chris decides it would be a haha funny to reveal everybody's voting confessionals. Heather got a majority of the votes, but Cody voted out Sierra, absolutely crushing her, and I'm positive won't be a main plot in the next episode that ruins the episode for me. I'm sure it won't. Okay, I can dream, whatever. But it's a non-elimination, and Heather is saved, and Team Amazon is divided. This is a really great episode. I like how each team got their own time to shine and show some of the dynamics between them, and I was engaged the whole way. Fairly similar to Slap Slap Revolution, just a lot more fleshed out, which is never a bad thing in my mind for Total Drama standards. Episode 9 is like the little stinker ugly duckling in this stretch of episodes, because I just don't like it. To move on to the episode, the plane does a cute little somersault into France, the Louvre to be more specific, as teams will have to find pieces of these famous art sculptures to build back together. Luckily, they aren't the real things.
Chef made some fake ones, right?
Oh. Regardless, everything about this episode takes a seat compared to the main plot, and the main reason this episode doesn't fall too high up on the list. Sierra and Cody. Now, do not take this the wrong way. Sierra has herself a massive group of haters. I'm not one of them. I enjoy Sierra more than most. The problem I have with this episode is that I don't enjoy this type of Sierra. The whiny, neglecting, just overall annoying Sierra, and not in an endearing way. I didn't care for the storyline at all. It doesn't make Sierra look good. It doesn't make Cody look good. It just flopped and means almost nothing because it gets solved by the end of the episode. Thank goodness everybody else can carry this episode out of the gutter. Poor DJ's getting railed. Oh my god, I'm sorry. That was bad word choice.
Woo, yeah! Izzy rules! Touchdown!
I love Izzy so much. The ending of the episode is another bit of a downer that's only carried by the humor. Team Victory loses the challenge because what else would you expect? And because their team is down to 2, they'll compete in a runway challenge to determine who will stay. Poor DJ is so done with everything. He's ready to throw the challenge. He doesn't want to win. He wants to go home. And against Lindsay in a fashion challenge? Oh, it's going to be a sweep. Yeah, cue them dumbing down Lindsay to oblivion, and she apparently has the worst fashion sense in the world all of a sudden, and gets eliminated. Overall, the episode is pretty meh. I like the humor of this episode. It's really funny, but that can't be the only thing in an episode, or it's going to end up pretty low on this list.
Well, I would have to say that I didn't realize that there would be 2 models, so I wasn't paying attention.
Episode 10, another really great episode. And that starts with my favorite duo that's not really a duo, but come on, they're kind of a duo. Heather and Alejandro. With Team Amazon and Team Chris is really hot, even in numbers, DJ, a team of 1, is a crucial number on both sides. And both sides are very blatantly vying for DJ's loyalty. Unfortunately for those two, DJ is over this shit. He's ready to quit the game, which considering he's killed an unfortunate amount of animals, yeah, DJ, you should get out of here. You're cursed, man. That won't stop them, especially not Heather, from trying really hard.
He is good. I want the tape. Give me the tape. How do you open this thing?
Back to the actual show, the cast arrives to Newfoundland. Pretty much the first 2 teams to get to shore will compete for invincibility.
I am a CIT!
More like a BITC.
The episode is 2 different storylines. The first one is kind of stupid. Team Amazon, aka Courtney and Gwen, are fixated on this thing on top of this rock that kind of looks like Duncan, but it's just a bunch of rocks. Duh. However, that does unveil that Gwen has this weird fixation and tension about Duncan. I think someone has a little crushy crush.
Slip of the tongue. I want that tape back. Give me the tape. How do you open this thing?
Meanwhile, on the other plot,
Jerd McLean! Oh, she caught in Derby.
oh my god, it's Jerg McLean, baby! I love Jerg. He's a top 5 character in Total Drama. Sorry, my bad. We'll get back to the episode. It's pretty much the Heather and DJ show. Heather is trying and tricking DJ into competing for this challenge and staying in the game, mostly against DJ's will, and DJ ties for the win.
Oh, this
why do I watch this show? What am I doing to myself? Last thing I'll leave this episode with is DJ does find a fish at the end with an Egyptian symbol on it, potentially being a factor that could lift his animal curse. Too bad it's just Alejandro putting the symbol on the fish. That's unfortunate, but regardless, the episode is really good. I enjoyed a lot of it. The season does its comedy really well in my opinion, and that along with some really good plot points that actually have future impact, and we got a lot of Alejandro and Heather, I can't complain at all.
Did I just say that on air? I want that tape back! Give me the tape! Oh! How do you open this?
Episode 11. Not exactly a perfect episode. Let me jump into it. A lot happens. DJ has a new lease on life thanks to his fish that he made out with named Irene. I guess I'm happy for a happy DJ, even if the fish isn't real. The side plot of the episode surrounds Owen and Izzy, because Izzy is absolutely perfect. And Owen wants to break up with her. You're crazy, Owen. Izzy is actually the greatest character in the show. However, though, before Owen can break the news to Izzy, they fall out of the plane and somehow land without even a scratch.
Even a scratch.
Oh, plane right to the dome piece. Oh, God. Talk about a breakup, am I right? I'm sorry. That was, oh, God. The issue I have with this episode is that a lot happens here. But with a lot happening, it felt like none of it was super duper impactful to me. I mean, it was, but it didn't feel like it was. Izzy, due to the plane falling on her noggin, is like super duper smart all of a sudden. And got taken away by the army? So Izzy's gone for the game? I guess? Like that? Like nothing happened? Are you kidding me? See, what am I supposed to do with that? It's just thrown onto us. And the main plot of the episode has the same issue. DJ is absolutely destroying this challenge with his good luck charm, until Alejandro sabotages DJ by not so secretly revealing that he painted that symbol on the fish. And all of a sudden, DJ's curse is instantly back and he lost the challenge. So DJ gets eliminated. Just like that. Like, this entire plot of DJ being the swing is thrown out the window the second Alejandro realizes that the teams aren't merging. So we just wasted the subplot for a couple episodes. For what? That's why this episode's just kind of fine, but nothing more than that. It's just fine. Everybody's favorite, the aftermath. I'll try not to waste too much time. I didn't mention last episode, there's this entire plot that Chris blew the entire budget for the season on his luxuries during the season. And turns out the plane has no fuel. And now this aftermath episode, there's a telethon to raise $500K within the episode to save the show. And that's the episode. Not too much to say. It's not completely no fun. Donating stupid amounts of money so Lashana will stop dancing, that's hilarious. And they raised the money. Duh, there's a whole 13 other episodes we have to get to. 14 episodes. I can't count. I'm sorry. I'll boogie on to the show that we all know and love now. Here we go. It's almost like clockwork. Every single season, once we get to near the halfway point, or around there, there's a stretch of just elite episodes of the show. And we're about to enter that with episode 13, I See London. Everybody gets sent to loser class because Chris is brewing up something special in first class for the challenge. But Mr. Alejandro needs every advantage he can get and snoops in on them. Oh, okay, he's gone. The man in the cloak you just saw is Jack the Ripper, the big bad of this challenge, and the cast needs to catch Jack before Jack catches them. And I love it.
You tried taking off a dude's pantyhose with your teeth.
As we move through the challenge, the casts get picked off one by one, and the main things to mention throughout are Gwen and Courtney actually bonding and connecting with each other. Yay, that's wonderful. I sure hope this doesn't get tarnished in an episode. Noah is pretty much the first person not named Heather who clocks Alejandro as a snake, or in this case, an eel dipped in grease, and doesn't trust him at all, and explains that to Owen. Hopefully that won't be relevant later on.
Hey, Noah, you know what's hilarious?
We forgot Tyler.
How is that hilarious?
We're down to 2 players on each team. They go in vastly different directions at the end of this challenge. Gwen and Courtney find something at this old building, and Noah and Owen actually went to the right way and found Jack the Ripper on a double-decker bus. And I love this duo. They whoop some ass and catch Jack. I love a massive chunk of this episode at this point, but the episode truly becomes elite at the end of the episode right here. Back on the plane, everyone is reunited, some happier than others. Considering everybody got to see the full challenge play out, Alejandro heard everything Noah said about him. we can distract ourselves for a moment because Team Chris won the challenge. Except for, Gwen and Courtney have a person in their sack.
Duncan?
Duncan? Excuse me, they really couldn't go a whole season without bringing their boy back? I'm joking kind of because drama is coming, but I'm just saying. Maybe I'm actually mad at this because this makes Team Amazon win the challenge. Excuse me, that's some bologna, ham, and cheese right there. What? I haven't even gotten to the vote yet, and there's still more to talk about. There's some weird tension between Duncan and Gwen, which is a thing, I guess. Oh, God. Oh, what's happening? Tyler, be fucking for real for a single moment. Oh my God, that Tyler scene really does carry. There's a lot to break down here, because what the hell did I just watch? I can't even focus that my beloved Noah got voted out. That's like the 8th most relevant thing that happens this episode. Like, one of my favorite characters from the season got booted, and I can't even, like, mourn it because there's a lot to go and process. That's a testament to having an amazing episode, though. The drama, the comedy, the heartbreak, and so much tension you could just taste it. Sorry, bad choice of words. The end of this episode is just the perfect setup for a climax of this romance love triangle that's brewing right now. Right when Gwen and Courtney become best friends, too. I do love this episode. It's my number 2. Let's see how much better we can get from here and move on. Oh? What's that? This is my number 1? I know that's right. Here we are, episode 14, Grease's Pieces, my favorite episode in Total Drama World Tour. It's a journey, I tell ya. Magnificent, cause there's gonna be drama. Sorry, I can't keep it PG, but Gwen is fucked. Kissing Duncan has created this one-sided tension with Courtney, right after they become besties. And now there's tension with Tyler and Duncan because, well, I hope you know why. With old Alejandro in the middle trying to figure out what is going on. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you our main storyline for the episode. Something that makes a really great episode of this show is a really good storyline and plot throughout the episode. While the challenge is also fun and enjoyable, it knows its role as being background, not the main focus. And it might just be this episode and Basics Training that do that the best. It's an exciting challenge, the Olympics, going head to head, team by team, to win the gold. Duncan versus Gwen round 1, the tension is wonderful. And also Duncan has to sing this whole episode to make up for lost time. That's not important at all.
The Four Bears got me, and that's seriously lame.
Round 2 is only important because of some shenanigans allowed Alejandro to make a deal with Tyler that Tyler has to repay him sometime in the future. I'm sure that's not going to come to roost in any important way. After Alejandro's thing in round 3, it all comes down to a final showdown. Tyler versus Cody. Battle of the Titans. However, these men are taking the back seat because it's time to release this tension into the tsunami it's about to create.
I saw Duncan and Gwen kiss.
I thought we were friend-ish. I hate you. I hate you.
Nice bikini.
You are so eliminated.
Oh, it's going down. It's gone down. Merry Christmas. We are being served right now. Everybody may very well have their opinions on this entire dynamic for the relationship and the love triangle in the moment and moving forward. But at the very least, can we acknowledge this is iconic in Total Drama history? Oh my God. Cody punches Duncan. I think Courtney will be murdering somebody today. And despite everybody wanting Cody to throw the challenge to boot off Gwen, a bottom is gonna bottom, and Cody wins the challenge in spite of his team's wishes to save Gwen. Kinda iconic. And with Team Chris is really hot losing, Duncan is primed and ready to go home until Chris says fuck the vote and keeps Duncan because he's drama. I mean, like, sure, blatantly rigged the show in front of us, but it's a cartoon, okay? This episode is everything I could ask for. There will obviously be fallout from this, and some not some fun episodes to come, but I don't care about that when ranking an individual episode. It's amazing, iconic, number 1, the best of the best. Picking up right where we left off, tensions are still as high as ever. which opens the door for that slithering snake Alejandro. He wants to subtly push Courtney over the edge to throw everybody's game off, because he's Alejandro. Side note, look at my boy Tyler.
Oh, man.
Tyler is super cute.
Oh, no.
I love that man so much. The actual challenge also gave potential for so many good moments, most of them also including Tyler.
Ouch! Oh, hot! Ooh, something's smoking!
But the goal was to find an alien artifact and escape with that artifact intact. Nothing else of importance matters aside from Courtney wanting to throw the challenge pretty pathetically so she can vote off Gwen. Duncan and Gwen reunite, they cute. Duncan makes a deal with Alejandro to not vote him out and work together for the immediate future. And this.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd.
Alejandro is so real for that, oh my god. Anyways, Team Chris is really hot, loses the challenge because silly Tyler tripped, and that deal comes in mighty handy for Duncan, and Tyler is outie. Which is so sad, Tyler was amazing this season. This was, like Noah, a character who didn't get much development in season 1, and turned into a really good character I always remember from this season. Gone way too soon, even if you made it over halfway. The episode was solid, funnier than anything else, but Courtney throwing the challenge can get annoying. But if I ignore that, everything else I thought was pretty good. The only issue is throwing challenges will continue for Courtney, episode after episode. She's desperate to guarantee Gwen gets the boot. But due to Sierra's hatred of Gwen and Cody's love of Gwen, Heather's kind of the swing vote on the tribe. Look at this growth from Heather, queen shit. But for once in this game, the guys have an advantage, and they plan on acting on that advantage. Making a plan to weaken Team Amazon by having Alejandro flirting with Courtney to make Heather jealous because Heather so fucking obviously has a crush on Alejandro. Creating a rift between the two. And I love when this cast does strategy talk. It does things to my brain, it just makes it click. You gotta race emus across the Australian outback this challenge. That part kind of sucked, but the real drama comes when we get to sheep bungee jumping. Yes, sheep bungee jumping. To start, I really am enjoying the Duncan and Alejandro duo. That makes me smile. It's like the villain and like the lesser villain. But yeah, both of these coming together is so good. Heather's determined to get Courtney out now because of the flirting with Alejandro. And Duncan has been preparing to get revenge on Cody all episode for punching him in the face. And he finally does it, launching him off of a cliff with a... That's a weird looking sheep. So yeah, Team Chris is really hot, wins invincibility. Unfortunately though, the last laugh goes to Duncan's ex at the end of the day because despite Heather siding with Gwen and voting out Courtney, Cody's head trauma or something from the fall caused by Duncan makes him accidentally vote for Sierra instead of Courtney, causing a tie. And a bullshit tiebreaker at that. You have to transfer eucalyptus leaves to baby pandas by the mouth. And apparently Gwen is allergic to eucalyptus and panda dandruff and all of it. So, like, Gwen had no chance of winning and she gets eliminated just like that? I mean, I like the storyline of Duncan inadvertently sending his new girl home. That's pretty cool. And obviously Gwen wasn't going to win because she won season 1. But it's just a weird way to do it, and I don't fully agree with that. You could have just made her straight up lose the tiebreaker, you know. Overall, the episode is still really solid to me. I'm just a personal fan of the immediate aftermath and drama that comes from this love triangle, and that clearly shows with how high some of these episodes are ranking, within reason. And we got some great strategic content, which I'm always a sucker for in Total Drama. Nearly a top 5 placement for episode 16. We're actually still getting bangers. Something about the midpoint of Total Drama season just hit so hard. Episode 17, Sweet and Sour. The main storyline to focus on here are Cody being depressed that Gwen is gone, his goth fantasies are over, Courtney and Alejandro are flirting heavy. Obviously, one of them is faking it, but, you know. And Duncan is taking his time to work on Owen now, trying to mold his mind to see that Al is the bad guy, the enemy. And in general, I'm kind of loving Duncan this season. Some people complain about how much screen time he gets, and even me at some point. But I think Duncan this season is better than he was in action. He's not the main character, but he's still a vital part to the story, and a great opposition to our villain in Alejandro. He really goes full anti-hero, aside from, cheating on his girlfriend. That wasn't very great, but whatever. The challenge eats so bad. Viking ship boys versus girls battle it out on the icy and snowy Swedish land. I'm so in. It's Viking ship versus wait, what did Team Amazon build again? Oh, okay, thank you. And the rest of the episode is a lot of fun. Not overly serious. Alejandro versus Duncan tension is becoming very real, and I love it.
What are the odds? Stop talking like a pirate.
Sierra took a literal cannonball to the gut for Cody, and Owen becomes a cannonball in one of my favorite shots in Total Drama, takes down Gwen's face, and wins the challenge for Team Chris is really, 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 really hot. And it was a reward, so nobody's going home. But for a reward challenge, I love the episode. It had humor, strategy, a great challenge. That's a recipe for a great episode of Total Drama World Tour. A top 3 placement to go with it. Guys, you are not going to believe what I'm about to say. We have an aftermath episode of Total Drama that isn't one of the worst episodes of the season, and it's a top half episode. This has to be a mistake. Why was this episode actually really fun? First of all, everything has to start with Blanley, as she has tricked Bridget into switching their roles for the episode, and now Bridget is literally stuck in the middle of a blizzard while Blanley gets to host with Jeff. But the big part of the episode, dun dun dun, there's a second chance challenge where somebody in the peanut gallery, whether they're on the season or not, is going to be lucky enough to fight for a chance to come back into the game. The 5 potential returnees are Lashana, Lindsay, Beth, Noah, and Tyler. But this episode has Blanley in it. Of course she's going to be the star of the episode, with Jeff doing everything in his power to make Blanley's life hell. And wouldn't you know, if the episode doesn't finish on time, Blanley doesn't get paid. So we have an episode of Jeff doing outrageous things to mess with Blanley so the episode doesn't finish while Blanley tries to counter that. And this feud and the return challenge come to a head in one fell swoop, where due to trying to get the episode finished, the final question to earn a spot in the game is answered by Blanley, which means...
Congratulations, Blanley!
And this is just so perfect. An entire trifecta of aftermath episodes of Blanley being a pain in the butt, and it's all accumulated to her having to now be on the show. They did an aftermath episode right by not doing an aftermath episode at all. This was nearly a top 10 episode of the season. I had a lot of fun watching. Episode 19, the cast is instantly dropped, headed for their certain death to Niagara Falls. Sierra becomes a superhuman and also assaults Cody.
My breathing is just fucking... No, I can't breathe.
That's not... It's a cartoon. It's a cartoon. It's a cartoon. But Cody's a victim for sure. Anywho, Blanley's here.
Who?
I said Blanley's here.
Who is that girl again?
What? Who am I?
Blanley... Ugh, you just wouldn't understand. But it's merge time. Every man, woman, and Cody for themselves. And I enjoyed this episode because of the challenge and the dynamics that come with the challenge. Everybody's getting married and duoing up in boy and girl pairs. Heather with Alejandro, Blanley with Owen, Courtney and Duncan, and Cody and Sierra. And I know I already talked about Sierra being creepy literally this episode, but I do enjoy Sierra this season. This episode specifically, I just think her delusions are kind of fun for me. And overall, everybody is almost at their best this episode. Heather gets really possessive and jealous about her man that isn't her man. Owen and Blanley have a really fun dynamic of being the comic relief all episode.
It was high, too. It was like... No, it was a little lower. Sounded... What?
And Duncan and Courtney hate each other so much. But I still ship it, okay? I know Duncan cheated on her, but like, they're made for each other. They just are. And of course they win invincibility. The rest of the episode is somehow Cody and Sierra getting legally married again, against Cody's will. And Alejandro finally wins this one-sided war he's had with Owen all season and turns the votes on him to get him out. Weakening Duncan and, yeah, that's about it. It was the right time for Owen to go home. He's made it far every season so far. It's a good episode. Not overly notable, but I still had fun with it. Like I have with most episodes this season. Hopefully it'll continue moving forward. We're in the 20s now, and just a general point, I think there are a couple of really strong episodes in this Endgame bunch. But for the most parts, these episodes vary from good to decent to kinda meh. So I think the strongest part of the season is behind us, unfortunately. but I'm still gonna enjoy talking about this end.
She's making baby name lists. I don't want kids. She can't make me have kids, right?
Cody has been through it. The cast is in China, literally racing along the Great Wall. There's a lot going on. Unfortunately, I don't fully care about it though. Except for blatantly bribing Chef and forming his second illegal alliance in back-to-back seasons. Just helping her out throughout the day. The second part of the challenge is actually relevant. The eating challenge! Oh, we can't go a season without an eating challenge, and I kinda like eating challenges, okay? Sue me. Everybody else really sucks at the challenge, except for our top 3. Sierra, who's drinking this love-making tea? Don't ask. Blanley, who's being served appetizing food instead of the local delicacies that are being given to everyone else. And Alejandro, who's using Courtney as a human trash can to eat all of his food for him. A couple of cheaters, and Sierra, who's just a freak. Blah blah blah. Chris, who's like half paying attention due to producers being down his neck all episode, pretty much gives Sierra the win. And there's a tie vote between Blanley and Courtney. But Chris is tired, annoyed, and needed a good excuse to get rid of 2 people and decides to boot them both. Which is kind of bullshit, I'm gonna be real, but whatever. The episode's good. I enjoy parts of it, but it's not impactful to me. It just kind of happens. And especially with the run we were just on with great episodes back to back to back, this one is more in line with last episode instead of the top tier episodes. Episode 21, to the African Safari, and Sierra is literally dragging a drugged up Cody. That can't be legal. What the hell? It's hot, it's sweaty. Speaking of hot and bothered, Alejandro and Heather are made for each other. They're just messing with us at this point. All this tension. Enemies to lover storylines will always be my kryptonite in shows. The big challenge is a hunt for Ezekiel, who has become like a green and feral thing. It can't talk anymore, so that's weird. All season there have been points where you can like see Ezekiel in the background, or it's made known to you that he never left the plane because they needed a plot point, I guess. And I think the entire thing is unnecessary. I know there are people who think it's disturbing and really gross to see them joke about a teenager become literally feral. I agree with that point to an extent. At the same time, it's not reality, as much as I wish this show was sometimes, and I think it's more unnecessary than anything. An Ezekiel storyline throughout the entire season doesn't need to exist. Just don't cast him on the season. I don't care enough about seeing him get made fun of and treated like a dog for the rest of the show's existence. Back to the actual challenge at hand, I had fun with this. There are only 5 people left, and one of them is out of commission, so everybody that is relevant has their chance to shine. And had a fun 1-episode story arc. Sierra has to rescue a drugged up Cody from some monkeys, Duncan and Alejandro working together, Heather being a girl boss icon independent woman, and then after everyone trankballed each other, more on that in my song list, Heather and Alejandro create a temporary truce together, sabotage Duncan, and Alejandro wins immunity as they realize they're actually a good duo together. Who would have thunk it? It only took 21 episodes. And Duncan gets the boot, which sounds about right. It was his time to go home. A fun journey, but obviously he wasn't going to be a finalist. And to end the episode, Alejandro takes Cody to first class with him, and it causes so much drama. He makes Cody happy to build his trust, he makes Heather jealous, and he causes Sierra to do Sierra things. It's a good episode. I like the arc it took, especially when they focused on Heather and Alejandro specifically. Those 2 are great. Episode 22 is honestly one of the most forgettable and useless episodes in all of Total Drama. That doesn't make it bad. It just doesn't need to exist and was the definition of a filler episode to get that 26 episode quota. Stuff happens apparently. Not that it matters. The boys team up while the girls try their best to team up. Doesn't work too well. Whatever, the cast heads to Easter Island and have to find eggs, because it's Easter Island. But the eggs belong to this massive condor, and the challenge is fine. Spoiler alert though, Heather winning means absolutely nothing because it's a non-elimination. So whatever happens here doesn't matter. It's forgettable, and the worst episode of the season that wasn't the first or second aftermath because nobody goes home. We're this late in the season and we're doing this stuff. Now we get into a really good episode because it's an actual round of the game with actual consequences. And it'll start with Alejandro continuing his evil ways by photoshopping and printing a fake photo of Cody and Heather sleeping together, showing Sierra to make her angry and pissed off at Heather. So those 2 can't work together under any circumstances. They send the cast to the Badlands of Drumheller for the challenge. But it's Cody's birthday and Sierra was the only one that remembered. And that was cute, okay? She's not Just a creepy stalker.
Remember his birthday? Twerp is lucky I remember his name.
The main part of the challenge is to dig through the Badlands to find a barrel of oil. And this is where the episode becomes great. Heather and Alejandro just stealing the show constantly all season, and all of it can culminate with this endgame. Heather has been a real asshole all episode to Alejandro, and he's genuinely mad at her. And when she manages to get trapped under a boulder, Alejandro isn't going to help her here, are you kidding? Blah, 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 this is how we will end it, blah, 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 blah. Alejandro changes his mind and helps her out, while demanding that she will never, ever, ever vote for him. While this whole love story is going on, Cody finally breaks through to Sierra, proving that photo is fake and getting them to look at Alejandro as a snake. And when we get to the vote, ready to reveal if it's a tie or Alejandro is done, Sierra stops everything to bring out a cake she made for Cody's birthday. But science or something means,
Although I guess with the whole blowing up my plane business, she's out of the game!
that's not good. Oh, Sierra's out of the game. Oh, Heather ran to burn the votes. Oh, Alejandro reads the votes and finds out Heather voted for him. Oh, this is juicy. And it's just a great episode of the show. A big thing with Total Drama is storylines. And if you can do a one episode storyline well, you got an amazing episode of the show. Like Basic Straining and Total Drama Island, or episode 14 like we just had this season. This one is a downgraded version of that, which is still great. I mean, Basic Straining is one of the best episodes in the history of Total Drama. I love all of these characters, and Cody's there too. Seeing them be able to interact, strategize, manipulate, backstab, fight, it's all I want. We got all of it in this one episode. It's a great episode that can lead us to the conclusion of the season. Just missed the top 3, but top 5 was never in doubt. It's really strong. We're at the final 3. The very end of the game. So let's cut to an Aftermath episode, because why the hell not? Ruin intense and dramatic endings to the previous episode by watching Jeff and Bridget and other people. Whatever. At the same time, if you ignore where this episode is placed in the season, you can have fun with it. Everyone in the peanut gallery gets to choose who they're rooting for and compete in a challenge to help each of the finalists. Shout out Harold and Owen for being really fun this episode with their commentary and just overall presence. And what's the opposite of a shout out? Whisper out to Courtney for not being so great this episode. It's been a downward spiral for Courtney for a while, and this is not her best look. Unfortunately, it doesn't get much better, but that's for another video. The challenge doesn't fully matter. Courtney wins for Team Alejandro, and that's the episode. It's fine. A decent aftermath. Nothing else to say. Except shout out Bruno. We love you, Bruno. He's a star. Episode 25. Bald. 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 Yep, Sierra's bald. And still there because she can't get dumped out of the plane because, you know, woo, she blew it up. I only mention this because it's cute seeing Heather help Sierra out because of her past trauma with being bald. But the challenge for the final 3 is to race from the middle of Drumheller all the way to Hawaii by any means necessary. I feel like I'm saying this every episode now, but god damn it, Alejandro versus Heather, every episode is so good and I want to talk about it because the tension is there. But they actually hate each other now, and it's rivalry time. They're messing with my mind. It's so good. Whatever. Heather takes a train, Alejandro hides with the animals, and Cody continues to do absolutely nothing and get carried by Sierra after she got eliminated. Holy shit. Do something, Cody. And they take flight in a makeshift hot air balloon. And throughout the episode, you get so much good. This is a final 3 done right. Each competitor gets their own moment to be a character that we can connect with instead of throwing silly, goofy, random challenges at them. And that's at some of its best here. We can skip through some of this stuff. Cody and Sierra crash. Sierra saves the day again. This guy is useless. The race gets extremely tight. Heather pulls through and is the first confirmed finalist. And then right as Cody almost makes it, Alejandro comes crashing in and they tie. Meaning we'll have to wait to the finale to decide who's going to be facing Heather. This is a really good episode. It has a lot of what you were looking for in an episode of Total Drama, but I won't lie, this was my breaking point with Cody. I've been keeping it under wraps for most of the video, but damn it, this dude literally does nothing the entire season. He's a fine character and pretty likable, but he just exists. Has no business being in the final 3 by any means, except for being a non-threat and having Sierra carry him. Whatever, I'll wrap this up as we head to the finale. The finale, episode 26, we did it. By the way, Alejandro beat Cody in the battle for the final spot. Are you really surprised? No? Okay, we're gonna move on. It's Alejandro versus Heather. We've had an entire season building up this enemies to lovers to enemies to whatever the hell. And you really thought Cody was gonna be the one to take down Alejandro? Delusional. Anyways, I think this finale is kind of shitty. You gotta make a pineapple dummy, throw the pineapple dummy into a volcano, and win the game. Blah, blah, blah. Right when Alejandro is about to win, Heather appears and stops him, where they finally confess their feelings to each other and kiss.
And that's a cool million for Heather.
Oh my god, Heather just girl bossed the hell out of him and wins the $1 million. Or does she? Well, there's two different directions I can take that. I'll start with the Kanan event, where Ezekiel fucking shows up and fights Heather for the $1 million, and then he literally falls into the volcano. What the fuck? He's dead for sure. You're telling me we got an entire season of Ezekiel lingering in the place for him to literally fall into a volcano? That's terrible writing, I'm sorry, it just is. And before I get into this terrible fucking ending, it's that time where I talk about the fact that Total Drama doesn't have a canon winner. There are different endings where both finalists win. And in Alejandro's ending, Heather accidentally threw his pineapple dummy into the volcano, and so by technicality, he wins. And Ezekiel fights Chris instead of Heather. And then chaos happens. You're not supposed to throw pineapples into active volcanoes, and it erupts, causing everybody to almost die. Alejandro got crushed and then sunken into lava. It's awful. This is a finale of the season. Why did they feel the need to basically just kill everybody? It's lazy, it's not funny, and it completely kills the momentum the season was riding on, and not the reason I watched the show. Terrible ending. Alejandro gets put in a robot suit because his body got mutilated. Jesus, great job, Total Drama. You just had a shitty finale. There are some good and funny moments that happen sometimes this episode. Basically everything right until Heather throws the dummy into the volcano isn't that bad. But the ending and third act of the episode is the worst part of the entire season. I'm so serious. So it's going to round out our list by being near the bottom. A record low for finales thus far. Woohoo, that's a season. That's 26 episodes of Total Drama World Tour ranked right before our very eyes. And I do think from start to finish, World Tour has the strongest batch of episodes. Not the best episodes, but consistently throughout the season they deliver. Now, does that mean it's better than Island or any of these other seasons? Maybe. Maybe not. That might be for a future video. But as a general wrap up, it's a really good season that a lot of people obviously enjoy. I understand the flaws that come with it. Every season of the show had these flaws, but the memories I have as a kid are so strong with World Tour. I can't do anything but adore it. The storylines kick ass no matter what you think about the love triangle. It's much better than whatever the hell season 2 was. And the characters felt more fleshed out to me. There isn't a run on Total Drama more satisfying than Heather's on this season. All of those factors together can make this one of the all-time best seasons of one of my all-time favorite shows. But that's gonna do it for me. We're back to Total Drama, and I'm hoping to bang out these episode rankings. We're gonna take a little bit of a break because we got Survivor right around the corner, but I don't plan on doing any other Total Drama related videos until I finish this episode ranking series, so expect Revenge of the Island pretty soon. All Stars, Pacateo, Redonkulous Race, all of it's coming. Just stay tuned. We got some big plans and big videos coming this year, so just sit back, subscribe, like the video, save this video, tell your mom, tell your dog, tell everybody. If you made it to the end of this video, I love you. Platonically, of course, and I will undoubtedly see ya when I see ya. Bye-bye.